Have you ever noticed how some health questions never seem to go away, no matter how many times people talk about them? One of the most debated is whether drinking milk can actually cause acne. It's a topic that sparks curiosity in teenagers going through their first breakouts in adults who still struggle with stubborn skin, and even in parents wondering what might be affecting their children's complexion. The question is simple, but the answer is layered. Is it myth or fact? This matters because acne is not just about appearance. It's about confidence, self-image, and emotional well-being. Think about how frustrating it feels to wake up with a breakout right before a big meeting, a social gathering, or even just a regular workday. The sting isn't just physical, it's psychological. For many people, acne feels like something out of their control, something mysterious. That's why the idea that a common everyday food like milk could be part of the puzzle hits so hard. If there's truth to it, maybe something as simple as changing your daily drink could help calm the storm on your skin. So why do people connect milk with acne in the first place? Let's break it down. Milk is widely seen as one of the most nourishing foods available. It contains protein, calcium, vitamin D, and other nutrients that are essential for growth and overall health. For decades, it's been promoted as the foundation of strong bones and healthy development. But beyond the nutrients we all recognize, milk also contains natural hormones and growth factors. Among these is insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1. Here's where it gets interesting. IGF-1 is a hormone that encourages cells to grow and divide. That's great when you're a growing child, but in the context of skin, it may not always be so friendly. High levels of IGF-1 can encourage the sebaceous glands, the oil producers of the skin, to work overtime. Imagine your skin like a calm little village. Normally, the oil, or sebum, is like a gentle flow of traffic on the roads, smooth, manageable, and necessary. But when IGF-1 turns up the volume, it's like flooding the streets with cars. Suddenly, there's congestion. Pores get clogged with oil and dead skin cells. Bacteria that live naturally on the skin find this environment perfect for multiplying. And the result? Inflammation, redness, and those unwanted pimples. But here's an important detail. Not everyone responds to milk in the same way. Some people seem unaffected. They drink milk every morning, enjoy cheese with every meal, and yet their skin remains as clear as polished glass. Others notice breakouts after something as simple as a latte. Why such a difference? The answer lies in individual biology. Genetics, hormone sensitivity, gut health, and even lifestyle factors like stress or sleep all play a role in whether milk becomes a trigger. Scientific studies give us clues but not absolute answers. For example, large population studies have observed that teenagers who consume more milk, especially skim milk, report higher rates of acne. Researchers believe this may be because skim milk has altered protein and hormone levels compared to whole milk. Strangely enough, other dairy products like yogurt or cheese don't always show the same strong connection. That makes the puzzle even more complex. So, what we know so far is this. Milk contains compounds that could, in theory, contribute to acne by increasing oil production. Many people do see a connection in their own lives. But not everyone does, which means milk is not a guaranteed cause of acne. It's a potential trigger, and triggers vary from person to person. Think about it this way. Have you ever noticed your skin reacting to certain foods, even when your friend could eat the same thing without any issue? Maybe spicy food gives you breakouts, while your friend eats chili every day with no problem. Or perhaps chocolate feels like an enemy to your skin, while your sibling can enjoy candy bars without a single pimple. The same applies to milk. It affects some people, but not all. That's why the milk and acne debate continues to live in this gray space between myth and fact. The evidence is strong enough that dermatologists often recommend patients experiment with reducing dairy if they're struggling with persistent acne. But it's not definitive enough to label milk as the universal enemy. So the big question becomes, what can you actually do with this information? How do you take this science and apply it to your daily life in a way that's empowering rather than restrictive? Now that we understand why milk is often linked to acne, the first real step is about taking control, testing, adjusting, and seeing what works for you. Think of it as running your own personal science experiment, where your skin is the guide and your daily habits are the variables. The beauty of this approach is that it's empowering. Instead of feeling helpless against breakouts, you start to see patterns, make changes, and notice results that are unique to your body. The key move here is to test your skin's response to dairy by cutting back, at least temporarily. Notice I didn't say you need to completely eliminate milk forever. That sounds intimidating, even discouraging. Instead, the goal is to create a short-term experiment, typically lasting 2 to 4 weeks, to see whether your skin changes when you reduce dairy. During this time, keep a simple journal: what you ate, how much milk or dairy you consumed, and how your skin looked and felt the next day or two later. This small act of awareness can be powerful. It transforms acne from something random and frustrating into something you can observe and influence. And even if dairy doesn't turn out to be your personal trigger, you'll come away with a deeper understanding of your skin. So, how do you actually do it? Start by identifying the biggest sources of milk in your diet. For some, it's the daily coffee with cream. For others, it's cereal, smoothies, or even hidden dairy in baked goods. Then, make swaps that feel manageable. Almond milk, oat milk, and soy milk are widely available alternatives. They work beautifully in coffee, blend smoothly into smoothies, and pour just fine over cereal. Many people find they enjoy the taste after a short adjustment period, and their bodies appreciate the lighter feeling as well. During this experiment, you might notice your skin becoming calmer, with fewer red, inflamed pimples, and less oiliness. Some people describe it as their skin finally breathing. Others might not notice a change at all, and that's just as valuable. It tells you milk is probably not your personal culprit, and you can focus your attention on other factors like sugar, stress, or skincare products. One encouraging benefit of this step is the sense of control it gives. Acne often feels like it's happening to you, but making changes like reducing dairy flips the script. You're the one taking action, testing, and learning. That shift in mindset can be just as powerful as the physical changes in your skin. Here's a relatable example. Imagine someone who has struggled with acne for years. They've tried creams, cleansers, and countless products from the pharmacy aisle. One day, they decide to test the milk theory. They swap their daily skim milk lattes for oat milk. 2 weeks in, they notice fewer new breakouts, and the angry redness on their cheeks begins to fade. It's not a miracle cure, but it's a noticeable difference. Suddenly, they feel hopeful. Instead of dreading the mirror, they feel like they've cracked part of the code. Of course, not everyone's story will look like this. For another person, the experiment might show no improvement at all. And that's perfectly okay. Sometimes, the relief comes from knowing, really knowing, that milk isn't the problem, so you can stop blaming yourself every time you enjoy a slice of pizza or a cappuccino. Either way, you win. Clarity is progress. And remember, acne isn't caused by one single thing. It's often the result of a combination of factors: hormones, diet, stress, sleep, skincare routines, and even genetics. Milk may play a role for some people, but it's rarely the entire story. That's why the goal of this experiment isn't perfection, it's information. So, if you're curious, give your skin this chance. Take a few weeks to reduce or swap out milk and watch what happens. Approach it with curiosity rather than fear. And remind yourself that every small choice, whether it's drinking more water, getting enough sleep, or trying dairy alternatives, is part of a bigger picture of caring for your body. By now, you've explored the first big step, reducing milk to see whether it affects your skin. But let's say you've done that experiment, and the results point to a connection. Maybe your skin does feel calmer when you cut back. Or maybe you notice breakouts returning when you bring dairy back into your routine. If that's the case, the second key move is about finding balance and building a lifestyle that works long-term. Because here's the truth: milk and dairy products are deeply woven into modern diets. They show up everywhere, from the obvious glass of milk or scoop of ice cream to the hidden dairy in breads, sauces, and even protein bars. Trying to live a completely dairy-free life can feel overwhelming, not to mention unnecessary if your skin only reacts to certain forms of dairy. The smarter strategy is not all or nothing. It's about moderation, smart swaps, and discovering what your unique skin tolerates best. Let's break this down with a real-life example. Picture someone who loves their daily latte. When they did the experiment, they swapped milk for oat milk and noticed their skin cleared up. But they also realized they enjoy cheese on pizza and yogurt with fruit. Do they need to give up those foods forever? Not necessarily. Many people find that while liquid milk triggers their breakouts, other dairy products don't cause the same reaction. The reason may lie in the way these foods are processed. Fermented dairy like yogurt or cheese often behaves differently in the body than fluid milk. So, the second move is about identifying your personal tolerance level. Think of it like building a dairy budget for your skin. You figure out how much and what kind of dairy your body can handle without tipping the scale toward acne. For some, it's avoiding skim milk but enjoying full-fat yogurt occasionally. For others, it's sticking with dairy alternatives most of the week but treating themselves to cheese on special occasions. This approach feels more sustainable because it removes the pressure of perfection. Instead of feeling deprived or frustrated, you're making intentional choices that fit both your health goals and your lifestyle. And that balance often leads to greater consistency, because let's be honest, strict rules tend to backfire. If you feel restricted, you're more likely to give up completely. But if you allow yourself flexibility, you stay committed longer, and your skin reaps the benefits. Another important part of this solution is paying attention to what you replace milk with. Cutting out dairy won't do much good if you substitute it with overly processed alternatives packed with sugar and additives. The key is choosing plant-based milks and foods that are wholesome and nourishing. Almond milk, oat milk, and soy milk are popular choices, but not all brands are equal. Some add lots of sugar or artificial flavoring, which can also irritate the skin. Reading labels and choosing unsweetened, fortified versions helps you truly support your body. Think of it like this: you're not just avoiding a possible trigger, you're actively nourishing your skin from the inside out. Plant-based alternatives often come with their own benefits, such as healthy fats, fiber, and vitamins. By choosing wisely, you double your advantage: fewer breakouts and more overall wellness. Here's a simple story that illustrates this balance. Imagine a college student who struggled with acne for years. They noticed milk was a trigger, so they switched to soy milk in their morning coffee and almond milk in their smoothies. But they still loved their grandmother's homemade lasagna, which had real cheese. Instead of giving it up, they enjoyed it once in a while, guilt-free. The result? Their skin stayed clear most of the time, they felt more in control, and they still kept the comfort foods they loved. That's what balance looks like. What's inspiring about this step is how it teaches you to listen to your body. Instead of blindly following rules or fearing food, you develop trust in your own observations. That sense of empowerment can spill over into other areas of life, making you more mindful of what fuels you, what drains you, and how to choose wisely. And let's not forget, acne is not the only thing at play here. Dairy reduction often brings other unexpected benefits. Some people report less bloating, improved digestion, or even more stable energy levels. For those who are slightly lactose intolerant without realizing it, reducing milk can make daily life more comfortable. These little wins add up, making the journey feel worthwhile even beyond skin health. So, the second key move is all about balance, not restriction. Learn your limits, make thoughtful swaps, and keep the foods you love in a way that supports your skin instead of stressing you out. We've explored the science behind milk and acne, and we've walked through practical steps to test your own body's response and find balance with dairy. But there's a bigger picture here, and it's the third key move: creating a skin-friendly lifestyle that supports your health in every direction. Because while milk may play a role, acne rarely comes from just one single factor. It's usually the result of several things working together: diet, stress, sleep, hydration, and even mindset. Let's start with stress. You might have noticed that breakouts sometimes appear right before an important event, like a presentation or family gathering. That's not your imagination. Stress hormones like cortisol can increase oil production in the skin, making you more prone to pimples. If you're already sensitive to milk, stress can act like fuel on the fire. That's why building habits that reduce stress, whether it's a daily walk, deep breathing, or a calming bedtime routine, can make a huge difference. The point isn't to eliminate stress completely, which isn't realistic, but to manage it in ways that protect your skin and your peace of mind. Sleep is another underrated factor. When you're sleep deprived, your body struggles to repair itself, and inflammation rises. This can worsen acne, slow healing, and leave you feeling drained. Think of sleep as your skin's overnight treatment, the natural reset button your body provides for free. Aim for consistent, restful sleep, and you may find your complexion looking calmer and healthier, even if you haven't changed anything else. Hydration also plays a powerful role. While water alone won't cure acne, being well hydrated helps your skin function at its best. Dehydrated skin tends to overcompensate by producing more oil, which can clog pores. Drinking enough water supports balance, helps flush out toxins, and keeps your skin resilient. Pair that with a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole foods, and you're nourishing your body in a way that naturally supports clear skin. Here's where the mindset shift comes in. Instead of thinking of acne as a curse or a punishment, try reframing it as your body sending signals. A breakout is your skin's way of communicating, telling you that something, whether it's diet, stress, or environment, needs adjusting. When you see it this way, You move from frustration to curiosity. Each pimple becomes a clue, and each experiment becomes part of the process of learning what works for you. That perspective alone can take away so much of the shame and helplessness that acne often brings. Let's make this real with a story. Imagine an older adult who thought acne was only for teenagers, yet they started noticing breakouts in their 50s. At first, they were embarrassed. Why me, at this age? But then, they decided to approach it like an investigator. They tested reducing milk, swapped their afternoon ice cream habit for a fruit bowl, started drinking more water, and committed to going to bed an hour earlier. Slowly, the breakouts calmed. Not only did their skin improve, but they felt more energized, lighter, and more confident overall. The lesson? It wasn't just about milk. It was about listening to their body and building a lifestyle that supported them in every way. And that's the heart of this third step, zooming out. Instead of obsessing over one food or one product, you create a bigger picture of health. Clearer skin becomes just one of many benefits. You feel stronger, more resilient, and more independent in the choices you make every day. For seniors especially, this perspective is powerful. Acne or skin issues can feel discouraging, but they don't define you. You've already overcome decades of challenges, adapted to changes, and proven your strength. Adjusting your diet or lifestyle for your skin is just another way of showing that resilience. It's never too late to take charge of your health and confidence. So, is it myth or fact? Does milk cause acne? The most honest answer is, it depends. For some, yes, milk is a trigger that makes skin break out. For others, it has little to no effect. What matters most is discovering your own truth. Through mindful experiments, balanced choices, and a broader focus on healthy living, you can uncover what your body is telling you. And here's the inspiring part. No matter what your results are, you win. If reducing milk helps, you've found a tool that gives you clearer skin and more confidence. If it doesn't, you've ruled it out and freed yourself from needless worry. Either way, you've taken charge, learned something new, and moved closer to a lifestyle that helps you feel your best. So the next time you hear someone debating whether milk causes acne, you'll know the answer isn't just a simple myth or fact. It's a journey, one that's personal, empowering, and full of hope. And along the way, you'll discover that your skin, like your life, is always evolving, and with each choice, you have the power to guide it toward health, strength, and independence.